In a time and place when you can work from anywhere.
Two ladies in their mid to late 27s have decided to.
And they're calling it workationing.
Next stop on the adventure, Acapulco.
We're here.
The Gringas are already running into some problems.
Like, who the fuck is this lady and why is she in our house?
Sometimes a good deal really is too good to be true.
I really hope I don't die here.
This is the Workationing Podcast.
Hey, Kelly, you know what I like to do?
What, girl?
I like to set expectations and then just completely miss them entirely. Isn't that fun?
That does sound fun.
You know, hey, remember when you told everyone we were going to record 2 podcast episodes a week?
God, we're just the dirtiest of liars, are we not?
No, filthy, filthy liars over here. To explain the delay, we've been working.
We've been working a lot. Unfortunately, as we've said before, there's a reason that the work part comes first.
Workationing.
In workationing.
Yes, just a lot of work in that workationing. So the reason why we popped up to Montreal, of all places, from Medellin and took a brief detour through Boston and New Hampshire is because we had some business meetings.
We did.
So there was something in New York that was planned, New York City, and then there was Boston Pride.
Yeah, so obviously we can't just walk out on our clients. We work remotely, but there's a few times a year that we need to actually show up for things, usually to live tweet some sort of an event or do some sort of event planning. And in those cases, we really need to be there IRL.
Yes, in real life is the kids are calling the IRL these days. And we wanted to go out to Europe. The plan was to go out to Europe.
Yeah, it's just that traveling is such a bitch. The actual traveling part is hard.
It's so bad.
And crossing timelines makes it even harder. It just didn't make a lot of sense to hop across the pond, as they say.
No.
And then just have to hop right back. Also, I really didn't want to be planning something in New York City while +6 or +4 or wherever we ended up in Europe. That just sounded not good. So we ended up in Montreal.
And then we had to go down to Boston for Boston Pride. And then we decided on Acapulco.
We sure did. And that's where we are now, coming at you.
Hot and fresh. Just very, well, I don't know about so fresh.
Not about fresh. It's hot though.
God, just the sweat situation out here is intense and legitimate.
You know, just a couple of weeks ago, we were in Montreal, and I remember being wrapped up in the on the couch in the living room in a blanket, and because it was a little chilly, you know, it was a little burr, and I was like, I can't wait to get to the tropics and just feel some warmth on my skin.
Right. Ugh.
I was dumb. I
don't want that warmth anymore. I would give anything to go back to some of that Montreal cool weather.
Yeah, Montreal was pretty great. I don't know if it made for the most riveting podcast material, because it was just very livable.
The city is clean.
It's great. We loved Montreal. We had a great time there. It was probably my favorite leg of the trip thus far.
I would agree. I would say so as well.
I think it's more, the feedback we're getting is it's more entertaining for you guys when things don't go so well. And you know what? Have I got some good news? I have a feeling, we're early on. We've only been here for a few days, but right. I think we got some good content coming at you.
Yeah, I think we have a where we went wrong lined up. So, Kel, do you want to talk about how we chose Acapulco to begin with?
Yes.
So what had happened was...
How you know it's going to be a fucked up story. What had happened was we were in Montreal. We wanted to go somewhere. We have this Boston Pride thing, but then we also need to be at San Diego Pride almost exactly a month later.
Right.
So we only really had 4 weeks, which when we started this, we really thought that spending a month in each location was going to be like very doable because, you know, if you're used to only vacationing for like 10 days or 2 weeks or something, that sounds like a lot. But when you're doing what we're doing, which is working like all the time and then trying to fit in the other stuff, a month ends up not being very much time.
No. I think that ideally where I have settled is I would like to spend 2-3 months at a time in each place.
Yeah, going to a different place every month sounds very cool, but in actuality, it's just a real pain in the dick.
It's not great. And so we have to be in San Diego
in a month. Yeah, so we've got 4 weeks to kill, and we're like, all right, so where do we want to go? And we're kind of stuck in this part of the world. We don't want to go to Europe, obviously, and then just come right back. We wanted it to be somewhere that wasn't going to be crazy expensive because the clients do fly us out for this stuff. They don't need to be flying us in from like Peru. You know what I mean?
No, that's an expensive plane ticket. I think Cheryl in accounting might have some questions.
You might have questions, right? Because our clients, as long as the work's getting done, are very, very cool about this. But we don't want to push that. So we couldn't go too far. Also, we didn't want to deal with that. Like It really takes a couple days to recover after a really long trip. And we just didn't want to deal with it. So long story short, we were kind of looking in that general area. I found Acapulco.
Kelly's to thank for this one.
You're welcome.
For just this boob sweat that won't quit.
It's great. And it had a few things going for it. One was that the plane tickets were only $177 from Boston.
Yes, you can fly from Boston to Acapulco. $177.
No, it was the same to fly to New York City from Boston. It was ridiculous. So we've got these great tickets. Then I started looking at the place, and there were a ton of Airbnbs that looked very fucking fancy for way under budget.
Yes. Ballers on a budget. We like to ball out on a budget. That's kind of the whole point of this. I really enjoyed that about Medellin. We got to stay in the penthouse suite.
Yeah, and this seems sort of like the same thing. So this place that we've booked, we've got some videos we'll share with you guys on Facebook and stuff. But I mean, it's insane. It's 3 bedrooms and a
punishment room.
What we like to call the punishment room. There's like this one like windowless sad room in the middle with like a toilet right next to the bed
and a shower. It's like a self-contained apartment, and
like a little jail cell.
You just need a hot plate. It is like a jail cell.
It really is. I don't even like going in there. It's got bad vibes. But the rest of the place has almost 360-degree views of just ocean and mountains and ridiculousness.
Oh, the views from our balcony are insane.
Yeah, we have an infinity pool, obviously, that's shared with the building, but it overlooks, you can just see all of Acapulco from there.
Mm-hmm. Check out our Instagrams for that.
Yeah, it's really gorgeous. So it seemed, and it's way under budget. It's $1,500 a month for this place, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a little 80s. It's a little 80s, maybe 90s cocaine.
That's fine, though. You know, I'm cool with it.
Tile floors.
Yeah, so we ended up coming out here also. We kind of know someone out here. Well, Kari does.
Listen, there's this guy who has some conferences, and he's got some people who really like him, I guess.
He's well known to a certain segment of the internet.
He is, and he is just like pushing Acapulco like it's something great. And in his videos, it does look pretty fabulous.
It does, because what we found is that like you really can't beat the natural beauty of this place. I'll give it that.
No, it's like Medellin with an ocean.
I've never seen anything like it. Just the water. It's Acapulco itself is just a giant bay, and there's mountains all around. The water is insane. I've never seen anything quite like it. And from a distance, from up high, it's really something.
It really is. You get down into the town, though, and that's another story, but we can save that for a little bit later. You may know Acapulco from the Flo Rida video, Whistle. That's how I like to think of Acapulco.
No, and we can literally from our living room see the cliffs upon which Flo Rida was doing his whistling.
It's true. And I was inspired by that. I wanted to jump off of some cliffs. I am pretty sure that will not be happening.
It looks awfully dangerous, girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna
You're going to smash that pretty head like a grape, girl.
I just got my bleach blonde done, so I'm going to keep that nice and maybe not go cliff diving on this right now. Maybe I'll practice and build up to it at some point.
Right. So
I'm not going to say never.
I'll never say never. So we ended up in Acapulco because it seemed cheap. It looked cool. It was in the area that we wanted to be. We considered some other places. We've already been to Playa del Carmen, which we actually love. Playa del Carmen's pretty great. We looked at Merida, which is like on the northern end of the Yucatan, but like it seemed a little remote. So we ended up in Acapulco. It seemed like a great idea at the time.
It did. So you may be able to tell already that we are not super psyched about this place.
No, and I'm bummed about it because when we walked in here, I have literally never seen views like this. I thought Medellin was sick. It has nothing on this place. I have never, and I probably never will again.
No, because I don't plan to come back already.
No, I'm already planning on never coming here ever again.
All right, so let's talk about our experience so far. So we arrived at night. Ooh, actually, just to pop a quick detour, I want to tell the border crossing story when we were crossing into the U.S. to drive down to Boston.
Yeah, girl, this is our podcast. You take this, so you drive this any way you want.
I just drove us across the border and told the border crossing guy that I had a dead body in the trunk.
He did. He was fine. We just popped up in Kari's convertible, all like sunglasses and scarfed up. And this guy was like, Thelma and Louise, where are you headed? And we're like, there's the States. And he was like, all right, do you have anything you'd like to declare? And Kari's like, I'd like to declare that there's a dead body in the trunk. And he was like, all right, ladies, well, you just have a great day. And just like tipped his hat at us. So
he was delighted.
Yeah, he had no problems with that.
Anyway.
So if you have to do any border crossing, I highly recommend you be white ladies in a convertible.
Yeah, it really, really helps. If you could just pop a bold lip, nobody really wants to fuck with you too much. Just a red lip, maybe a hot pink. Mm-hmm. Something it's got to be bold.
No, we looked very put together, and he was just like, oh, that's great. I mean, we could have really had a body. Also, it turns out if you have a body in the trunk, your best move is to tell them that you do.
Mm-hmm. And just be like, tee-hee.
Tee-hee. Is that funny?
I chopped it up.
Border jokes?
Couldn't get the top down.
Yeah.
Without chopping it up first.
No, Gringa likes to have the top down.
It's in 5 separate bags.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, we get off of the plane. It was like a 16-hour flight. It's nighttime by the time we get to our Airbnb. Mm-hmm. And it looks nice.
It did. So this place it's gated. Mm-hmm. And it's in old Acapulco. It's like in the older part of town. But it's way up on the hill. We weren't really sure where our building was, but it turns out you can see our building. It's called La Fortaleza.
You can see it from literally everywhere.
Literally everywhere in Acapulco. It doesn't matter where you are, you can see our building. Because it's the one big tall building on the mound that is old Acapulco, and it's at the very top. So we showed up there, and the views are crazy. Before you even get into the building, just at ground level, the views are nuts.
Oh, I just wanted to get in the pool right away.
Yeah, no, the view from the pool is just... I have never.
It's incredible.
It really is. It's really something special. And so we got there and we looked at our place. It is beautiful. The night we got in, there was a tropical storm rolling in, which was a little intense.
I've seen worse.
Yeah, like we've really seen some things. We're just like, just go to sleep, girl.
I've got perspective now.
Eye mask,
The lightning was bright. It was.
Very bright.
I'll give it, I think I saw sheet lightning. What they call sheet lightning. Not as scary as being in the top floor of our building in Medellin during the storms. Like we were literally in the cloud. That was a bit much for me.
That was a lot. No, so this was actually less scary than that. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it was great. And we were very excited. This place looks great.
So our housekeeper lets us in.
Yeah. Isabel lets us in, shows us around, and was great. Everything was fine. Mm-hmm. However, next morning, a gringo wakes up. It's Monday morning.
It's Monday morning.
It doesn't matter that you're exhausted because you've got to work. So I wake up, and Kari and I often listen. We've been traveling together for 6 months now.
We've been friends for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, and listen, it's just sort of a pants-free work zone.
When it's hot, there's no air conditioning here.
Especially when it's hot.
Really, really hot.
No, what? I'm just going to wear pants around you and sweat it out? No, girl.
No, we're just going to wear some underwear.
So it was a no pants Monday at the workationing headquarters at like 9 a.m. And I hear the door open, and I thought Kari was still in her room, but I thought I'd heard her moving around earlier in the day, and she tends to rise and grind before I do. And so I heard the front door open, And I thought that you had just gone downstairs to, I don't know, something.
Find a vending machine, which doesn't exist.
Yeah, it does not. Which
Then
is
they're done
a real
that.
fucking bummer. But no, it's homegirl. It's Isabel.
Isabel just walks in. No ding
knocking.
dong, no knocking.
Just like,
no,
hey, girl.
no, hey, ladies. Doesn't even say anything. Just lets herself in.
And my Spanish is stronger than it was when we started this, but is still
no bueno.
no bueno. And Isabel's English is worse than my Spanish.
No, her it just doesn't exist, her English.
So
Kelly's in her underwear arguing with this lady about why the hell are you in my place right now? And this Isabel lady is trying to tell us that, oh, no, she's going to be here until 6 and don't worry about it. She's going to cook our meals.
9 to 6 every day. She's going to cook our meals. And I just could not even. Also, I'm expected to pay her.
No, housekeeping was listed as an option on the Airbnb listing. It was not required. This lady just walks in. I am very protective of my space because it's also my workspace. And if I'm going to have a housekeeper come in, a cleaning service come in, I am not going to be there while they are there. It bothers me. It's distracting. I can't do my best work. I feel weird about somebody being in the house. No, I feel weird
about it. I think we're on the same page with that. Neither you or I grew up with like a ton of money, and I'm not opposed to, in fact, I think in a lot of ways it's a better use of my time, especially in a place like Acapulco or like in Medellin where you can get it done for so cheap. Because what she was asking to be paid for those 9 hours in the house was the equivalent of like $27. It's really not a big deal. But so for me, a lot of times and for us, I think it makes a lot of sense because we're so busy for us to pay to have somebody clean because it's just worth the time.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm
but
really not.
It makes me wildly uncomfortable though.
Just
it's not something that I'm used to.
No, just not during the day when I'm trying to work. And like, don't assume, and then don't tell me that you're going to cook for me. I'm kind of picky about my food and that I like normal stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and these gringas over here are on a diet.
Just dieting, eating a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables. And unless this lady wants to make me crudité, which she's welcome to do, but that doesn't take 6 hours. I don't know what she thought she was going to clean at 9 o'clock in the morning when she knows that we got in at 11 the night before.
Right. No, that was super weird. I'm like, so you're going to clean what? And it's going to take you all day? Nah, girl.
Nah.
So anyways, it turned into this whole thing, and we had to actually like get into a whole fight with our Airbnb host about it. And Airbnb had to intervene. I think at some point we'll probably do an episode about what to do when your Airbnb host is cray, because unfortunately I think that that's the situation that we've walked into here. And Airbnb does have procedures, mechanisms by which you can
get some money back.
Yeah, or appeal decisions of your crazy ass host, but you've got to. It is a whole thing. And it really did, that whole thing, that first day, it really did eat up almost our entire first day.
It did because there was a lot of headspace involved. And then this lady our host was trying to tell us that 2 days a week Isabel needed to be there, and it was definitely going to be at least once during the work week. And I was just like, what part of no do you not understand? Because I work from home. I'm not going to have some stranger encroach on my space while I'm trying to focus on something, clanging around, I don't know, doing dishes. What? Get out of my space. Come on Saturday, I'll go grocery shopping, go see some sights or something, and then you can have some cleaning time.
Yeah, it was just really a weird expectation. And we haven't been here long enough. It's hard for me to know, is it just normal for people to have full-time housekeeping in their space all the time here? It might be. It's very strange when you come into a place where for $1,500, we really are getting one of like the nicest places in the city. You know, it's like in Medellin where we didn't even realize what we were doing. We got like one of the nicest apartments in the city.
Right.
And suddenly you're just very wealthy, and everything that goes along with that, and like the culture of that and the expectations of that are very, it's like, am I supposed to have a 24-hour housekeeper? Is it weird that we're not doing it? Or is this lady just trying to spy on us? Like
I feel very spied on so far. We'll see how that goes. I really didn't like that lady just walking in. What if I were on a conference call? How distracting would that have been? I was scared that was a scary situation because all of a sudden a stranger, because she had let us in at 11, but I didn't immediately recognize her.
Right.
Maybe I should have. I don't know. It was more shocking that there was somebody who was just walking through our door. Also, there's no peephole. So if she were to knock, we wouldn't know who's on the other side of that door. There's only one point of entrance and exit. That's nice. Unless you want to crack an ankle jumping from the balcony.
You would more than crack an ankle, girl. That would be a rough fall. Kari and I were talking about this yesterday because we were looking down and trying to decide if we could jump out. And Kari really feels like there are these trees down there.
They're bushes, shrubbery.
They're like a large bushy tree. And Kari really feels like she can just flying squirrel her way across this like 50-foot gap and just like land in the trees. And I'm like, girl, I don't think that you're going to drop like a rock. You're not going to soar.
Listen, I get a running head start, right? And then I jump off of the balcony ledge. That gives me a little extra trajectory. No, I think when you follow that angle down, listen, I'm no physics major.
You are not.
I think I've got a real shot.
No, girl, you're going to drop like a rock. You're going to drop so fast. Just like a carton of eggs.
Oh my God.
It's just going to be sprayed everywhere. It's going to be bad.
So jumping from the balcony is not really an option, is what Kelly keeps telling me.
No.
Pansy, where's your sense of adventure?
I wish there was any way to test this and prove it without one of us dying.
Wait, can we please talk about the review that you neglected to tell me existed? About the punishment room.
Oh, well, I didn't see this one until after. So this lady's a super host, and so I didn't really feel like it was going to be much of an issue.
This Airbnb host. So here's a lesson that we've learned already. Let's just make sure you read all of the reviews.
Yeah, because buried in the back somewhere was a review where not the housekeeper, but the actual owner of the apartment, for whatever reason, her other apartment, which I don't know where that is because I don't get the feeling that she's in town. I don't know where she is, but I don't think she's here.
Okay.
But at that point she was, apparently. And they got there and she was just, well, hey, what's up? My apartment's having a thing getting repaired and I can't stay there. So I'll be staying here in the punishment room. Don't even worry about it because I'm going to make you breakfast in the morning. So don't stress. And then the rest of the time, she was just in that room. And the review was like, they were kind of weirded out by it. They're like, girl, what are you doing?
Weirded out.
And let me just express to you that this place is hot as balls. It is so hot here. And you have to open up the windows at the front and the back and just pray to Jesus for a breeze. And that helps a lot. Mm-hmm. But if you're in that punishment room that's literally like central to the apartment, it's boxed in on all sides, it doesn't have a window.
You're just baking in there.
It's an oven. So homegirl, you would feel guilty even having her in there, even though she's not supposed to be in there in the first place. Because it's like, guilty? Are you dying?
No, guilty. It would have never happened. Not on my watch.
No.
That would have been a hard no-go for me.
No, just some strange woman. It was like she's practically in the cupboard under the stairs. Like, what are we doing?
But don't worry about it, because she's going to make you sandwiches.
Yeah, right, girl? Like, she's going to scramble you an egg, so don't even worry about it.
I can't believe those people just let her do that.
No, for a week. A week. And they were like, yeah, it was kind of weird.
Who are these people?
I don't know, because I would have flipped the fuck out. I would have been like, nah, girl, nah. Like, absolutely the fuck not. I'm going to need you to get all the way out.
Because it was such a hard no when that Isabel walked through the door. And I was just like, what? Excuse me.
No, I didn't even put on my pants to tell that lady to fuck off.
No, and then she just
like, you're going to need to get out.
She wanted to stay. And then you had to talk to the Airbnb host while this lady texted from our kitchen.
No, that's the other weird thing is every time she gets into her apartment, because it's been a few times now, she's wily. She goes back and we have this utility closet where there's the washer and dryer and the cleaning supplies and shit. Homegirl just goes back there and just like texts up a storm and then gets on the phone and just whispers very rapid fire in Spanish. I know she's talking shit about me. I can understand enough of it. And I'm just, Can you not?
I know. She was there for 45 minutes.
No, and of the whole time of me just being like,
When
are you going to leave?
No.
Do you need something?
No, and then I lose my patience. And so I just went in and gave her the what the fuck shrug. My palms are open facing the ceiling. My shoulders are shrugged. It's the international symbol for what the hell are you doing? And
like
when are
I'm
you
crying
going to
out to God for answers. Can you please get out? Get out of my house. It was so awkward. And then she's just standing and I'm like, what are you doing? You can't just come over here and text in my closet. Like, please get out of here.
She's like, I am here to make it awkward again.
God,
it's
Isabel.
Me. It's me.
She's no Ezzy.
No. That lady knew when to leave. She's classy, that lady, And so I'm already noticing some inconveniences to this place.
I am
beyond
as well.
The crazy host, although I guess at least she's not trying to live with us.
That is good. I'm glad there's nobody. Listen, we should double check the punishment room, though, because I don't know if they're going to sneak in there at night. Because apparently they have no qualms about just using their key to come right in.
Can you imagine? I don't think that's a cultural thing. I don't think that's a cultural thing. That's just a crazy person thing. You don't respect my space? I paid for the space. That's got to violate some sort of contract.
I'm sure that it does. I'm sure. So the inconveniences.
Well, before we get into all of the inconveniences that we're starting to notice about this lovely place in Acapulco, how safe do you feel here? Because it's difficult to tell.
It is. So this is the conversation that we had kind of around Medellin and with Puerto Rico, where I feel like in Aguada, it looked scarier, but I think that place was very safe. Medellin looks gorgeous, but is more scary than it appears.
Right.
This place, it's about what I expect for Mexico. Because like we've been to Playa and a few other places. I've been to Mexico probably more than any other country besides the U.S. So it's not that surprising to me the way that it looks, but it does make it hard when you go into a place, especially we're in old Acapulco.
Right.
So things are obviously a little older here. So it's hard to tell, is it safe or is it not? I didn't see anything off the bat that set off any serious alarm bells. And the thing that I always do, I learned this from my mom because we moved around a lot when I was a kid. And the way that my mom would check to see whether or not a neighborhood was safe or not is it's the car check. You can tell a lot about a place based on the cars, because even if they're not like the nicest or new, if they're like really nice new cars, you're probably fine. If the cars are, a little more modest but well maintained, you're fine.
Right.
And what we've seen up here is actually these cars are not just, modest. Well, there's some really nice cars up here. So I think that despite the fact that it looks a little bit run down, the views in this general area are so good that I think it's a generally pretty well kept place, I think.
Yeah, we've walked around a little bit.
There's a lot of dying dogs.
Okay, so the inconveniences that we're starting to notice. And, we're going to be honest with you guys. Sometimes we make better decisions than others. I think that Montreal, strong decision. We had a very nice place. The neighborhood was a little cracky, but I was familiar with that level of crackiness. I had seen that before.
Yeah, I knew how to navigate that, and I was not concerned for my safety.
I've seen some of that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's like a level of crackiness that I'm really comfortable with. That's fucking Thanksgiving at my house. It was fine.
And I have driven through parts of Mexico before. I have driven through Tijuana, for example. I've seen some things, right? So it takes a lot for me to be like, nah. But when I was driving through Tijuana, I was in a car, and so I never feared for roving and possibly rabid dogs.
Yeah, the roving dog situation here is a little intense.
They will come up to you. Sometimes they get into fights with each other. That is very threatening.
Mm-hmm. They've all got just the biggest balls you've ever seen.
And
they're very hungry.
Pet control problem.
They really do. Bob Barker needs to come down here and tell these people some things.
God. We got a waiter on the beach who told me that one of these dogs bit him.
These just beach dogs?
Are you kidding me? He's
just a hungry beach dog.
Can you imagine getting bit by a beach dog.
Just a random ass dog.
Oh, with mange. They all have mange.
Dog.
They've got like hot spots of fleas.
Oh.
Just,
No, so the dog situation is not great. What's interesting here is a lot of times I'll be like, oh, look at that dead dog. But then later on, I see that dog just walking around.
That has happened
It
before.
happens a bunch,
It
actually.
Does. There's
I'm
that
like,
one who's real good at playing dead.
That dog looks super dead every day. But no, that dog's alive.
You see him walking.
Just on the brink of death, not all the way there.
God damn it. That's rough to see. I don't like that. It's
No,
depressing.
it's really hard. It's really, really hard. The potable water situation is
less than ideal, I would say.
It's never that fun to go to a place where you just don't realize how much of a problem it's going to be. Also, this wild woman over here really likes to brush her teeth in the shower and just gargle as much water as she can. And I think that's going to end badly for you at some point.
I already don't do that anymore. For reasons we've discussed. What do you mean at some point? That's going to end badly for me.
Yeah.
At some point. That point has come. I have crossed that barrier.
The problem with staying for a very long, any real period of time in a place that doesn't have potable water is that eventually you get to a place where every fart is a gamble. You know? And that's just a level of stress that I'm not personally really stoked about having in my life.
The dehydration is very real.
It is, because we're always sweating. Parts of me are sweating right now that I didn't.
My forearms. Why are my forearms sweating? I am not a sweaty person. I don't sweat. I glisten because I'm a lady.
No, I'll just be sitting around and it's just like, is there sweat dripping down my kneecaps?
Yes. Yeah, it is. Just, I feel skinnier though. All this dehydration and gastrointestinal distress.
It's great.
Making me feel very svelte.
Another thing that I don't love is that there's not Uber here. When there's a language barrier, Uber is really fucking dope because you can put in the place that you're going and then they already have that information and y'all don't have to understand each other at all. Worst case scenario, they can just follow the GPS to where you want to go and it really makes things a lot easier.
I don't know why you're saying that's a bad thing, because if we had Uber, we wouldn't have the opportunity to ride in these lovely, lovely taxi cabs.
Goddamn. So they have cars down here that I don't even know how they're still running. A good half of the taxis, at least, are the old VW bugs.
70s VW bugs.
And they're intense.
There's no seatbelts.
There's no seatbelts. Listen, I don't think there's a seatbelt in this town. I have yet to see one.
The dashboards are like ripped out. There's no meter on this bitch.
No, and they just kind of tell you when it's done what you better give them.
Kelly gets to get in the front seat. I climb in the back.
Because I couldn't even get into that back seat. I'm so tall. But you're really just in a tin can. And if anything goes wrong at all, you're just going to be wrapped in a just jagged metal coffin. So that's exciting, especially because there do seem to be a lot of accidents here.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
I really like playing that kind of Russian roulette with my life. We did find a cab driver outside of the Walmart.
We did, and he is a gentleman.
He loves us.
He does. Listen, he doesn't have seatbelts either, but he does have these towels that he puts over his seats that usually smell freshly laundered.
Yes. Yep, they absorb any sweat that might be creeping up through, and he's prompt. He's not creepy. He takes us to the best restaurants. He walks us into the restaurants and tells us which ones are the cleanest. Now, I don't know how accurate that is because I have not been feeling so well lately.
I have not either.
Is it the shower water?
And I think it might be less of a gentlemanly thing and more of I think he gets a kickback for bringing us there. Which is all fine. Listen, brother, hustle. Get your money, Benjamin. I'm happy to see a brother thriving. He's a nice man. So that's great. I mean, at least we have him and we can call him. It's nice because with these taxis, you're really rolling the dice. You never know what creep is coming to pick you up. This guy has not been skeezy.
No.
And he doesn't screw us on the money too badly. So
there's that. Santiago is very interested in our whereabouts and what we're doing. Listeners, you may remember Santiago from the Medellin episodes. He was our fixer that we met up at the pool. He is a good old Southern boy who is down south, but is going to be coming further down south to pay his gringas a visit, I think.
Yes, because when Kari says that he's interested in what we're doing, he is horrified by what we have done.
He's very afraid for us.
He is very concerned about us in general. He doesn't think we should be here.
No,
and he's going to come down here and keep an eye on his gringas for a little bit to make sure we don't die. And you know what? I am grateful.
He really told us to go anywhere else. He said, ladies, can you please go literally anywhere else? Did you Google this place first? And we said, yeah, we do. So,
don't worry about it.
It's going to be great. You're going to love it. Right? We said, come on down.
Yeah, it's going to be great. You're going to love it.
We've got lots of room. Stay in the corner suite if you'd like. We'll give him the big bedroom and he can translate for us.
I'm really excited he's coming.
We need some things. We need a fixer. We always need more help.
We do. And Santiago really takes good care of us.
He's great. He's such a gentleman.
He is. And I'm excited that he's coming. It's going to be a really good time. And such a weird reunion. This dude, I remember we literally met him on the roof in Medellin at the rooftop pool. And he was just talking about getting struck by lightning on a volcano in, where was he? Guatemala.
He lost a friend that night.
Right? And now he's coming down to hang.
I'm so excited. I love making road friends.
I do too. I think it's going to be really fun to reunite and see what he's up to. And it's going to be great.
I'm sure he's going to have some judgment.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things about Santi, though, is that he's always got judgment. He's always bringing judgment to the table. I like that about him. He really is.
Yeah. I'll give him that. He was the one who told us about Jamon Serrano.
Uh-huh. Listen, he'll tell us the truth. He loves us, but he's not afraid to tell us the truth.
No.
I like that about him.
No, I think he really thinks we've gone and done it now. I think we might have really gone and done it now. I hope I don't have to see the inside of a Mexican hospital. But with these cabs and is it the water virus? What is this? Is it bacteria in the water? I'm afraid to Google it.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Right.
It's going to be fine. It's good for the diet.
Is it the beach
cleanse?
Shrimp? Should I not eat any more beach shrimp?
I don't know, girl. There's only one way to find out. Just try it again. We'll see.
Okay, so did we do it? I think we're gonna have.
I think we've got
an interesting bucket list item lined up that I think we're gonna be pretty excited to tell the listeners about.
I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be cool.
Nobody's ever done this before. I don't.
No,
think.
It's weird. This is definitely different than anything. I'm excited to tell you guys about it, but we're gonna go experience it first.
Yeah. All right. So I am going to go stand in front of a fan and see if that cools me off, because I am just sweating a lot, just profusely. I'm gonna drink some Pedialyte. They have Mexican Pedialyte here. It's not called Pedialyte.
It's called something else.
I'm gonna go have at least one of those.
It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it.
Maybe orange flavored, naranja. I'll have that flavor.
Yeah, next time.
Limon.
Limon. It's not jamon.
No.
It's a gross flavor.
Just a ham flavored Pedialyte. Salty.
Salty. You're good. You need that. Electrolytes. All right. I think we did it.
Okay.
This has been another episode of the Workationing Podcast. If you like what you've heard here, please consider donating at patreon.com/workationing. That's patreon.com. All proceeds will go towards funding our bucket list items. To keep up with us in real time, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all at Workationing. Or on our website at, you guessed it, workationing.com. That's workationing.com. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Check. Oh, check, girl. Checkity check. All right. Ooh, girl. Check to the check.
Check to the check to the check.
It looks good.
Is it pretty?